Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. Now, I've talked plenty about the problems of Brexit and the consequences of those problems of Brexit, but I'd also like to talk, sometimes usually in vain, about what it is that those impacted would like the government to do to ease things. In other words, how can we make Brexit better? So in this video, I'll be discussing a range of practical measures that the British Chambers of Commerce came up with to reduce the pain caused to British businesses from our extreme Tory Brexit. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So first of all, British Chambers of Commerce, as the name would imply, are a lobby group for businesses in Britain. They claim to represent businesses which provide about 6 million jobs in the UK, which is a bit under a fifth of the entire workforce. Now, in their efforts to help their members, they produced, end of last year, a trade manifesto which includes a series of policies that they would like to see, but includes a section on easing the problems of Brexit. And I had to laugh, actually, because you go in there, like the first page proper, after the index of the document, contains a bit on why trade is good and why exporting and importing are important. Now, they are, of course, but it's a bit of a worry, isn't it, when such a document needs a section like that anywhere, let alone at the front. Because let's be honest, the general public can read this. I'll put a link in the description below. It's available for anyone to read. But I don't expect the average member of the public to read this. Why would they? This document is intended for economic correspondents in the media and politicians, ministers really. In other words, the people who have influence over policy. If any of these people need it explaining to them why trade is good or why importing and exporting are important, we are in trouble. Actually, we are in trouble, aren't we? So maybe they were right to include this section. And you can tell this document is intended for ministers because it's not written in finger-wagging terms like everyone trying to engage with the government over Brexit. It's trying to slowly sneak in their suggestions for improvements without any accusations of being so stupid to have delivered the hard Brexit that nobody voted for or wanted. You know, in the trade with the EU section, they put in this line. Part of the answer is the creation of partnership bodies with the EU to look at how the trade cooperation agreement that sets the rules on exports from and imports to the UK is operating in practice against what it was meant to do. So a couple of things immediately here. Firstly, the agreement is essentially for exports from and imports to Great Britain. Not so much the UK, Northern Ireland's treated differently. Secondly, what they are gently suggesting here is that this trade deal with the EU isn't doing what it was supposed to do. In actual fact, it's doing exactly what it was supposed to do. But, you know, they're trying to sort of pretend that the government wanted a trade deal that was good for British business. So it's like, yeah, it's not quite doing what it's supposed to do. It needs improving. Now, where have we heard that before? Oh, the irony. The government, have two Brexit agreements with the EU. There's the withdrawal agreement, which includes the Northern Ireland Protocol, and there's the trade and cooperation agreement. The trade agreement is only so light because we wanted it to be, or our government did. It's the withdrawal agreement that the government are trying to change, even though the EU are not willing to, and it has actually helped businesses in Northern Ireland. But they resolutely do not want to change the trade agreement, even though there's lots of scope for that. The EU would engage with that proposal, and it's what British businesses want. Because it's worth comparing the impact of the trade agreement with the Northern Ireland Protocol. Like, what is the beef with the Northern Ireland Protocol? For those who have a beef with it. It makes it harder to export some goods from Britain to Northern Ireland. No problems in the opposite direction, by the way. Now, I will point out here, yet again, that it is leaving the customs union single market that is the problem, not the Northern Ireland Protocol. We had the Northern Ireland Protocol in place for 11 months in 2020. No problems at all. No problems at all, while we were still in the single market and customs union. It was only in 2021 that the problem started. But like I say, those problems are centred on British businesses. So the Chambers of Commerce should have a view on this, shouldn't they? Yes, and they do. This is what they say. Reaching an agreement on implementation of the protocol which provides stability and clarity for businesses and creates a platform for strengthening UK-EU trade relationship. That's what they say. Note what they don't say. They don't say scrap the protocol and stick two fingers up at the EU. This is a lobby group for businesses affected, and they want the protocol to be implemented. That's in Britain. So it's not just in Northern Ireland where businesses want it implemented. In Britain, they want it implemented. They understand how trade works. They understand that our government has chosen to diverge from the EU and what that involves in terms of borders and checks. They understand that the protocol is necessary and they just want it implemented, and their stated reasons for doing so are to give their members stability and to improve relationships with the EU. That is their priority. So if the government ever try and claim that the protocol is not working for businesses, that is not what business groups are saying. And that is just one brief mention of the protocol. Most of their suggestions for trade in Europe concern the much more difficult process of trading with the actual EU. Now, there was a recent interview in the Financial Times where the guy in charge of Brexit policy at the Chambers of Commerce set out his top 5 hopes. And the main one was SPS veterinary agreement. Now, this is a no-brainer. Labour have already committed to sorting this out if they win power. The thing is, we cannot cope with the SPS checks that we are pretending to be introducing this summer. We don't have the vets, for one thing. If we did, it still represents a large expense and a serious source of delays. Thing is, when I say it's a no-brainer, there must be a reason why the government don't do it. There's always a reason for things. And it's because it means maintaining high standards on agri-food. Now, although the government has committed to maintaining high standards on agri-food, animal and plant products really, production in the UK, it has not done so for imports. So the government are reluctant on this one because it flies against their policy of undercutting British farmers with Australian or eventually American food being imported in the fullness of time. That being said, it is genuinely beyond me why the government didn't just agree to a temporary agreement in the interest of easing the consequences of Brexit. Because that Australian trade deal, we're not going to be getting those imports in anytime soon. There's a delay. So why don't we just have a limited term veterinary agreement? I mean, they understand that Brexit is damaging and needs to be introduced in phases to stop the public becoming aware of just how insane they were in voting it through. They've already put in a phased introduction of various Brexit measures. So why wouldn't they have agreed to a limited term veterinary agreement? The only speculation I can come up with, and this is speculation, is that it would then ease the supposed problems with the Northern Ireland Protocol. The EU have offered such an agreement for trade with Northern Ireland, and we've turned it down. It's like the government, they want the protocol gone not for practical reasons, but ideological ones. In other words, I suspect, can't know, but I suspect that the government are deliberately making some aspects of Brexit worse than they need to be, even within their general mindset, purely to give excuses for wanting to change the protocol. You know, the BCC, British Chambers of Commerce, also cited Chambers to the way VAT is applied. You know, and there was an issue here in that the government actually imposed new VAT rules on imports, which had nothing to do with Brexit, but because we applied them, so too did the EU. It completely knackered the trade in small, low-value items to a large extent, and not just with Europe. And it was totally unnecessary. Even given our hard Brexit, it was totally unnecessary. This is now a complete nightmare for exporters at least, because there are different VAT rates in each of the different member states, which small businesses need to deal with in order to trade, assuming that the VAT, when applied, even allows them to trade competitively. And this is on top of the extra cost and delays in transport. They also said they want the UKCA mark idea dropped, the quality mark that's supposed to replace the CE mark. Now, I've mentioned this a few times, not going to go into detail. We're never getting rid of the CE mark. Madness, we can't. We've delayed that twice already, and we'll keep delaying it. In practical terms, if we're going to have the CE mark, and we're going to have the CE mark, why have a second mark alongside it? Because that's all that's happening. British manufacturers now have UKCA and CE side by side. Why? It's pointless. Let businesses have long-term clarity and drop UKCA. That's what the group is saying. But again, it won't happen because, sovereignty in it. So while we're stuck with this Conservative government, we're stuck with this aim of scrapping the CE mark, which we'll never actually do because it's madness. They also call for policies that fly directly in the face of their, again, sovereignty in it Brexit mindset. So they're not going to happen either. But what we have are a series of measures that British businesses are crying out for, but won't get. Not because of a difference of economic opinion. I mean, when has conservative economic thinking ever been at odds with that of business lobby groups before? No, this is purely because of an ideology that cannot coexist with reality. And although lobby groups like this obviously have to try and engage with the government, they have no chance while the Brexit headbangers are in charge. They should be mindful of that come the next general election. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.